The laughter started low, like a ripple through a still pond. "Nice jacket, Grandpa." One of them smirked, loud enough to draw eyes. He stood alone in the airport terminal, clutching a worn leather duffel. His bomber jacket looked older than most of the people in line. The leather was cracked, the patches faded, but he wore it like it was armor. One of the boys behind him nudged another, chuckling. "Bet he bought that at a thrift store just to look cool." The man didn't flinch. He simply adjusted the strap on his shoulder and moved forward, silent. The TSA line was long, winding. Phones were out. People scrolled, yawned, waited. But the mocking didn't stop. Another young man leaned closer, pretending to squint. "Is that a pilot patch? What did you fly, sir?" "Paper airplanes." He snorted. No one intervened. No one defended him. Not the staff. Not the onlookers. He said nothing. His eyes, though, those pale blue eyes, stared ahead with a kind of weight. Like they'd seen skies most people couldn't even imagine. His name was Walter. He had once flown through fired in 1969. Walter sat in a cockpit that vibrated like a heartbeat. He was 23, scared, and airborne above Vietnam in a B-52. The heat inside the plane was unbearable. The sky outside, worse. Shrapnel hissed past like bees. He'd watched friends vanish in a jungle smoked. He never spoke much about those days. Not even to his wife. Not even after she died. All he kept were two things: a folded photo of his crew and that jacket. After the war, he taught flying at a local airfield. Didn't care for money. Only cared that no pilot ever left his instruction without knowing how to land in a storm. "The sky," he once said to a student, "doesn't care about your fear, but your fear better respect the sky." He buried 3 students over the years. Plane failures. Weather. 1 suicide. He went to every funeral, placed his hand over his chest, and walked away quietly. Back at the airport, the line inched forward. Walter placed his duffel on the belt, took off his shoes, his watch. As he stepped toward the scanner, one of the boys muttered, "Probably thinks he's Top Gun or something." That's when a voice broke the air, deep, steady, quiet, but unmistakably sharp. "He's not Top Gun," the man said, stepping out from a group near the gate. He wore full Air Force blues, ribbons gleaming across his chest. "He's the reason I made it through my first crash." The room froze. The officer walked toward Walter and saluted, not out of formality, but reverence. Then he spoke to the line, to the boys, to everyone watching. "He taught me to fly, to trust myself in a cockpit, to land after a storm tore off half my wing." This man didn't just fly planes, he built pilots. Walter didn't say a word, but his eyes, they glistened. The officer stepped forward and gently touched the worn patch on Walter's chest. "This jacket?" he whispered. "It's not fashion. It's history." One of the boys who had laughed now stared at his shoes. Another slowly removed his cap. The third swallowed hard, face pale. People in line turned toward Walter, unsure how to undo what had just happened. A woman nearby clapped once, then stopped, unsure if it was even appropriate. But then, the unexpected happened. One by one, travelers began standing. Not clapping, not cheering, just standing. Like soldiers during taps. Like witnesses to something sacred. A sea of silent respect. Walter turned to the officer. "You didn't have to do that." The officer shook his head. "No, sir. But it was time someone did." True heroes don't demand respect. They carry it in their silence. Some jackets don't age, they remember. Walter boarded his flight quietly, settling into seat 14. He gazed out the window as the plane lifted. Somewhere beneath those clouds was a world still learning how to recognize silent strength. And somewhere above them, maybe, were the faces he once flew beside. If this story moved you, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Subscribe for more real stories of quiet heroes, and share this video to honor those who wear history on their shoulders.